Hello, hello, hello. I'm back with another video, and I have a microphone now, which is an amazing new addition. And unfortunately, I'm still recording on my little iPhone because the camera that I have is ancient and definitely will not work unless I get a adapter cord. But I have hope and faith that it will work. So, coming to you soon will be camera videos. Still need to get a little monitor because again, I have a cheap camera, if anything could be cheap. And it doesn't really have that thing that flips so that you can see yourself. So that's so fun. Anyway, it's October. It's the 1st of October, my favorite month of the year. So many fun things happening in October. And I thought that it was time for me to grace the plains of YouTube with my presence again. Really, I thought that I would have another video way sooner than this, but the one that I'm working on is actually an insane undertaking. And I was not expecting that. So hopefully I'm just gonna do videos like this and every month and then get some more like well researched or like more in-depth like complex videos I'll do every so often, and you'll still have these monthly reports to look forward to. So yes, today we are doing a September report. So you might be asking, what is a report? And I would say, that's a good question. Let me open up my little document that I have. It was a trend that started on TikTok where people would make slideshows of like particular things that they liked or did that month. And it became like a pretty big trend and people started doing videos about it, and I was really interested in doing videos, but I was like, I don't really want to do them on TikTok, to be honest. The acronym REPORT stands for reading, eating, playing, obsessing, recommending, and treating. So those are just a bunch of things that I'm just gonna go through the list and talk a little bit about what I've been liking this month or what I did this month, etc. And I'm really excited because I get to talk about things that I really like. I still get to talk about books and music and movies and stuff a little bit, which is kind of the focus, I feel like, of this channel. My intention, at least, is for it to be revolving around that. And then I can, like, talk about some more stuff, some more little fun things. So it's basically just a little catch up betwixt pals, you know? So reading. This month I read, so actually I've been going through like a really bad reading slump where my goal for this year was to read, I think it's specifically 54 books. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm so good at reading, guys. Like, that's crazy. It's gonna be such an easy goal. I'm gonna fly through that. Well, I didn't. I'm 20 books behind, you could say. So definitely not going to make that goal, I don't think, but there's still hope. The reason there's still some hope is because I've been reading some actually very good books this month. But my favorite book that I've been reading this month, which is the first 5-star book of the year, has been The Great Believers by Rebecca Mackay. Mackay? No, Mackay. This book was just so gripping. There's a fucking trash guy coming and it's pissing me off. Oh my god. I don't know if you can hear that. So let me just fucking talk about this goddamn beautiful book. Hang on. Jellicle songs for Jellicle cats. Jellicle songs for Jellicle cats. Hi, baby. Hi. Oh. Hi, little baby. Come here, baby. So, the Great Believers. I am voracious for tragedies. I devour them. I hoard them like a dragon. I especially am drawn to tragedies that take place during the AIDS epidemic, specifically because of how moving and human and beautiful it is to be going through such harrowing, horrific hatred, but also physical pain, and still find humanity in things and fall in love. And it's just beautiful to me. And I think that these stories, especially when they're handled well, are such important parts of the culture, specifically because of how much prejudice is still going on about the AIDS crisis. I mean, seriously, I just saw a video on TikTok about this tattoo artist who was tattooing someone and they had like a really heavy bleeding and they said, "Oh, I'm HIV positive." And then this artist was like, "I had to throw away all my tools. I was so disgusted and blah 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 that they didn't tell me that." So like it's like so clearly you have no concept of what HIV is or how to like clean up your station even. Like what are you doing where your station is so like you have to throw away everything? That's crazy. That's crazy. And just like that prejudice is still very well and alive today. And I would say that this book was definitely highlighting that in terms of the current medical crisis that we're going through and the discrimination that people are still going through, POCs, poor people. It's just a like a through line, and it's only gotten more conniving from the actions of politicians. It hasn't changed. It's just become secret. So I just want to talk a little bit about this book. So so and I guess I haven't even told you guys specifically what this book is about. I just got on my high horse really quickly. So the narrative takes place in two different timelines. In the 1985 timeline, it is through the perspective of Yale Tishman. He's a gay man in Chicago, and he is part of like the financial department of a university's art gallery, and his career is like just beginning to like get bigger and better, and he's about to bring in these amazing undiscovered pieces of artwork from famous artists of the 1920s. And while that's happening, the AIDS crisis is continuing to ravage his friend group. And we we begin with you at the funeral of a close friend of his, Nico. And as the story continues, we watch this disease kind of get closer and closer and closer to Yale as his friends start dying. And finally, he is just left with Nico's sister as his only support. And then the second timeline takes place 30 years later in 2015, where Fiona, Nico's sister, is in Paris and she's tracking down her estranged daughter. And the timelines are just like it's one chapter is 1985, one chapter is 2015. And I think that works really well actually. I was kind of like not looking forward to the 2015 chapters. I kind of just wanted it to stay in the past, but then it became more interesting to me, and the stories started coalescing and themes started to like converge. And so I think it was very important and like the right decision for the author to have done that. And even reading in the back, she said like originally it was supposed to just be the 1985 timeline, and then she realized that it had to be this way to like tell the story that she was trying to tell and like get across the themes and the meanings. So I think that that was like a very good choice, and I definitely really appreciated having both timelines. The Great Believers was deeply moving. It encompassed a lot of things, but it was a story about love, about loss, about friendship and memory, and how that changes things, and the way that things are interpreted can be so different by different people. I'm having such a hard time trying to talk about this book, actually, because there's like smart things that I want to say. And I'm just like, how do I sound smart? How do I do that? What do we This book definitely, it has like a conversation with F. Scott Fitzgerald's works. I mean, the title is The Great Believers, which is taken from a quote from one of his writings, and it starts with a quote from a book of his. There's like in the beginning, like the section where you can have like poems to like set the tone. So from my generation, we were the great believers. I have never cared for any men as much as for these who felt the first springs when I did, and saw death ahead and were reprieved, and who now walk the long stormy summer. F. Scott Fitzgerald wrote a lot about the lost generation in his work, and I think Mackay is throughout the book comparing the young gay men of the AIDS epidemic to the men who were a part of the lost generation, who either fought in the war or were incredibly affected by the war. Where F. Scott Fitzgerald aimed to portray the disillusionment of the lost generation, Mackay is advocating for a more optimistic outlook. And though there is that like dread and disillusionment that's surrounding them, there are these pockets of goodness, these moments of hope and love that just shift everything and move people forward and unite people. And I think that that's what Mackay is advocating for, is to have this togetherness, and that's how people will be able to work through. Don't isolate, and it's not all disillusionment. It's not all tragedy and dread. There are beautiful things happening. And I just loved that message. I think Yale definitely left his mark on the narrative, and on me. He was just such a complex character, because there were just things going on in his head where I was just like, you're so right, and like I would do those things too. Or like he was just so like, he would do something reckless, but he wouldn't even think about it like as reckless. Like he thinks he's being careful. Like there are just things where it's just the humanness of him that really drew me into his world, and really made me feel he was just brilliant and alive and, you know, pervasive through the narrative. and I just loved it. So that was The Great Believers. And then the next thing I decided to read, which I think I will be talking about on TikTok a little bit more, it was Lady Macbeth. That was so tragic. My mic died. But luckily, I was done talking about the fucking book anyway. So The Great Believers was the high of the month. This was my rose. And Lady Macbeth was my thorn. It's not that it wasn't a good book, because it was. It's just that I'm a crazy Shakespeare freak, and what else can I say? You know? I just I don't think it did my girl justice. I don't think it did my girl justice at all. And I'll do a TikTok. Yeah, I'll do a TikTok about this because I don't really want to do a whole video. But yeah. So this was 3.5 stars. I think I should have given it 3, honestly. So eating. Eating. So every week I like to think of a couple of recipes that myself and my girlfriend will both like, and then make a grocery list and meal prep those things. The meal that I actually really, really loved was pretty much just a let's figure out what we have in the fridge and then build a meal around that kind of a meal, because we had a bunch of stuff left over and it was just didn't want to get into a whole like wastefulness. So yeah, I made mushroom and potato tacos, and I took a video of the very last taco that got devoured. You have a video that I will insert here and now. All right. I just realized that I'm recording in a shitty way. Okay, well, whatever. So these are how I make the tacos. Basically, I have some potatoes, which what I did was I boiled them, and then I put them on a pan in some oil and let them get brown and crispy on each side. And I also browned some mushrooms, and then I just opened and drained a can of black beans. So what I'm gonna do now is assemble the tacos. They're a little bit more crispy than I was anticipating, and these ones hardened up too. So that's great. I'm just gonna eat them like tostadas. So basically, this was just a meal that was made because we had so much stuff that we weren't using in the fridge. And I just gathered everything together and put my brain together. So I made a pico de gallo, and I'm just gonna put that on top of all of them. I like to pickle my own onions. Get a gander. I'm very proud of my pickling journey. Oh, wait. I forgot the aioli, which I also make aioli. So that's going on top of all of these as well. They're basically just going to be tostadas. And then on top is where I put the pickled onions. This is what I've been enjoying for the past few days, and I'm really loving it. Gosh, my hair looks absolutely crazy. Okay. All right, I will take a bite for everyone. So good. Highly, highly recommend. And that was what I was eating this month. My fave, the best thing. Loved it. P for playing. That's what's up next. And playing, I am going to assume, means music. What have I been playing this month? A lot of My Chemical Romance. Let's just say they were my top artist previously, and they're definitely retaining that top spot after this. I've specifically been listening to a lot of Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge. It's definitely my favorite album that they've made, but also I'll let you guys in on a secret. I'm making a video about the Demolition Lovers. Yeah. Yeah. And let's just say that that is going to take a little while to finish, and I did think that that would be the video that came before this one, but I really, really misjudged how much there is to talk about. So, I've been listening to a lot of Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge. What are my favorite songs off of that album, you might ask? My favorites on the album, in no particular order, are To the End, The Jet Set Life Is Gonna Kill You, Thank You for the Venom, It's Not a Fashion Statement, It's a Death Wish, and Cemetery Drive. And I would say Cemetery Drive is my favorite all-time My Chemical Romance song. Like, I don't think there's... I can't think of any song that is better than Cemetery Drive. It is just like a perfect, beautiful song. I went to go see them perform at the reunion tour at the Kia Forum. I went to 2 nights, and I saw them perform Cemetery Drive live. I don't think anything will ever beat that. It was such a crazy experience. Like, number one, I never, ever, ever thought that they would get back together. I was like, it was crazy. It still is crazy that they got back together. And it's like one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Like, if David Bowie came back to life, that's the only thing that would beat it. I I was in shock. Like, that whole time, it just did not feel real to me. It was such a fun time in my life. That was, yeah, best time of my life. And seeing my favorite song live, hearing it live, it's just an incredible experience. I hope that I get the chance to see it again. And I hope that they make music again. But yeah, so that's what I've been playing this month. Obsessing seems like kind of a vague category that I can like slot in whatever. So I'm going to just give myself carte blanche and say that I have been obsessing over rewatching Fantasy High, which is a D&D actual play series on Dropout, formerly College Humor. It's Dimension 20. It's their first campaign that they ever did, and the third season, junior year, just came out. I watched that, and I this summer just needed to feel something. I have not been feeling that great. I think I kind of alluded to that in my previous video. So I started rewatching Fantasy High, and I'm actually like a little bit like halfway through sophomore year. And I'm just having such a good time. I love those characters so much. They mean so much to me. Actually, hang on. This is one of my prized possessions. This is a locker from Eggford Adventuring Academy. And if you open her up, it's all of the Intrepid heroes, the bad kids, dice. I love it. I think it's so cool. Figs is my favorite. I literally named my cat Fig. Let's see. Can you even see that? It says Hoot Growl where the nat 20 should be, or the 20. So yes, I have been obsessing over Fantasy High, and I don't think I'll ever stop, but I that's been giving me a lot of joy and comfort while I'm going through just kind of like a difficult moment in time. I'm sorry, it's so cute. It says like Fig was here and then like Gorgug smells. It's just like I love it. Um I just yeah. So yeah, I would highly recommend D20 to people. I'd also recommend NADPod, not another D&D podcast. Um it's two of the members from the Intrepid Heroes, Emily and Murph, and then there's two other people. There's Caldwell and Jake Hurwitz, and it's just a real fun time. And I love D&D. I got into D&D in such a really negative time in my life. I was super depressed. I was extremely sick, and I just needed something to give me comfort. And the first thing that I ever watched was Fantasy High, and so it's just something like super special to me. And um it definitely really saved my life, honestly. And getting into D&D in general, like playing a game, it was just life-saving. And I think it's so fun even now. I highly recommend it. I think it gets people out of their comfort zones. It lets you be silly. It lets you solve mysteries. It's so fun. And I just highly recommend it. It's a great game, and I think people are starting to realize that. It's definitely becoming more mainstream, but I think there's still like that, like, oh, you play D&D, like you're weird, kind of a kind of a tinge to it. So I just want to say that's okay to play D&D. It's fun. It's a cool, sick game, and you get to fight monsters and roll shiny little rocks around on a table and pretend to be someone else. What's not fun about that? You're making up your own story. Anyway, that's what I've been obsessing over this month. Recommending the R in report. There's actually two R's in report. I just realized. That's crazy. I can't believe I didn't realize that. What am I recommending this month? I'm recommending escape rooms. Kind of along the same lines as D&D, I guess. You're following a story, you're uncovering mysteries. It's really fun. I went to my first escape room, and it was in Allentown, Pennsylvania, guys. You don't have to live in a big city. You can trust me. And I was not expecting it to be a good escape room. I really wasn't. But it was very fun. It was super fun, actually. It took place in the 80s. You're solving the murder of some girl. And it was kind of like Clue, which, if anyone knows me, they know I love Clue. Clue Master Detective. That's me. Yeah, highly recommend finding an escape room. I know that it was like a huge trend a couple of years ago, but they're still out there, guys. And wouldn't I love to work in an escape room? Wouldn't I love it? Any escape rooms out there in LA? I'm coming to you in October, and I would be a fantastic game master. And I would be kind of iconic, and you should hire me. We're actually at the last little letter in the acronym, T for treating. What have I been treating myself to this month? Well, it's gonna sound weird to probably everyone, but burrata. Yes, burrata, the cheese. I've just been literally getting it every single week. They have two little balls of burrata. It's mozzarella with, I forget what the inside is called, but it's just a mozzarella ball with some other stuff inside, some other cheese, and I I love it. It's actually crazy how expensive it is, and it should not have to be a treat, but it is. So I've just been having burrata. Literally, I guess it's just 2 days a week. I get a little burrata like from the grocery store, and I will make a sandwich. I will make a freaking delicious sandwich. The sandwiches that I've been making are like cooked zucchini and tomato, onion, and my pickled onions that I make, and burrata on top. And it's delicious, and I highly recommend. And that's all. That's all, folks. I love talking about myself. I love talking. So, this will definitely be something that I continue to do. And I hope that you guys also enjoyed it and maybe got some good things out of it. I would love to hear your thoughts on books that I should read, movies that I should watch, and TV shows that I should watch. What are your thoughts on The Great Believers? What are your thoughts on Lady Macbeth and Ava Reed in general? I am here to have a conversation, if you will, divas. Let's go down to the slation. I hope that you guys are having a good day, and if you're not, I hope that tomorrow is better. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.